Hello, folks, and welcome back to True Stories with me, Sherry Leans. I hope everybody's having a safe and happy week. It's TGIS. Thank God it's Sherry. I hope you guys are having a great day. And we're going to start this story off as another branch from a suggestion. You folks, I asked you guys to send me your suggestions on stories in 2018, and many of you did. And so 2019 is going to be filled with a lot of those answers. So Elizabeth Smart was one of those stories that you guys suggested, and this story just riveted the entire world. I mean, it was all over every single news station. The heartfelt cries of the parents were heard all around the world to please have Elizabeth come home. Now, you know, she was just 14 years old in Utah, Salt Lake City when June 5th, 2002 rolled around, and suddenly she was kidnapped at knife point through her bedroom window. Later it was discovered that it was in cahoots with a person that had worked on their roof, and you know, this person knew another person, and it was spoken about this girl. Elizabeth came from sort of a Mormon type family, a very religious background, and she personally feels like this was sort of an attack directly towards her due to that. Now, the gentleman's name that worked on the roof was named Richard Reese, and he knew Emmanuel, Brian Davis Mitchell, and this person is the person who kidnapped her at knife point right in front of her little sister. Now, it took her little sister some time to be able to vocalize exactly who she felt that person was that took her sister. Everything was very traumatic for the entire family, and not only that, but they were all under the radar as suspects with the authorities because they were all there that night together. And you know, there just seemed to be so many unanswered questions that, you know, the family got most of the accusations until it was figured out that, you know, Richard Reese and Brian Davis Mitchell actually were around that house in the summertime doing some work for them. Now, Brian proceeds, he named himself Emmanuel, but he proceeds to take her at knife point throughout the woods over to a set-up camp spot. And there he proceeds to tell her that she is now his wife and that they will be consummating their new relationship. When she got there, she saw a very, very scary woman that she said looked like a witch, and she was told was a witch. This woman, you know, hugged her so tightly that she felt like the woman was telling her, if you ever do anything wrong or try to escape, you know, we will hurt you. And she said, if you can convey that through a hug, I mean, it was that deadly that she was so intimidated by these people. It didn't take long, of course, after the first rape that she was tied up by the ankle with, you know, a really, really thick piece of steel type rope. And she was chained to sort of a tree, and she was only allowed within a certain distance at this campsite now. Because of course she was going to escape. Who wouldn't try to escape something like that, right? Brian Mitchell seems to get fairly comfortable because within, you know, a month and a half, 2 months, he actually has everybody leave the campsite in disguises and go to a house party and start drinking there. And I mean, there was people that literally saw Elizabeth Smart, and I feel so bad for those people that they blame themselves that they didn't recognize her. But you know, she was all covered up. Her face was covered up with a veil. I mean, it was impossible to see who she was. I guess some people have questioned why Elizabeth Smart didn't try to escape, but I think that being sort of mind messed with so badly creates for somebody to feel like they're stuck. And I love the way John Walsh, the America's Most Wanted host, states that, you know, it's nobody's business as to why she didn't try to escape. Nobody gets to ask her that question, I believe were his exact words. She is sort of a poster child for survivors, was another phrase that he used. And I thought that that was very empowering for her to hear something like that, because there was people that were questioning why she didn't try to escape. I think that if you're in a scary situation, you don't realize whether this person came in the middle of the night and took you at knife point. You have no idea if they're able to return back to that place, your parents' home, and kill your entire family as they've threatened. So you can imagine the fear in her mind as to why she wouldn't try to escape, why she was trying to just obey to her kidnapper and try to survive. During one of the leaves from the camp that they had set up, they actually come into contact with police officers. He was able to avoid having the officer look at Elizabeth Smart's face due to the religious background that he was trying to use, that the only person that would see her face is her father and her husband. However, if the officer would have persisted, it may have saved her a little bit. However, respect of, people's beliefs and stuff like that, I do think that there should be some amending to something like that. There should be somebody, who comes into the legal field that can do something like that. I'm not sure exactly what kind of position that would be, but someone who could interpret and come into the situation to view, someone's face in this, if this incident ever were to happen again and someone were to try to use this, it could be avoided, it could be stopped sooner. It wasn't until 9 months into Elizabeth's caption that she was able to be saved. And again, it was due to officers sort of swarming, thinking, there was a call that there was possibly a sighting of Emmanuel, and he was with 2 women. And, it didn't take long for authorities to zoom in on him and pull them over and start questioning them. Now, it was very obvious that Elizabeth Smart was very, very scared and hesitant and didn't want to say the wrong thing. She kept checking with her abductors kind of thing. Eyes were the windows to her soul, and her soul seemed very scared. So officers, thankfully, they pulled her off to the side, sort of putting her away from them in order to get her to say who she was. She was so traumatized and scared, though, it took her some time, 45 minutes to be exact, before she was able to articulate that, yes, she was Elizabeth Smart. Imagine the happiness of Lois and Ed as they found out that their daughter was still alive and okay. I can't imagine the happiness that the entire family must have come together on just hearing that news. Now, of course, both Brian Mitchel and Wanda were arrested, and they are both, life in prison. There's going to be no parole. More drama for Elizabeth Smart. She'll be able to regroup and find, her loved ones and settle in again. Brian had tried to take Elizabeth and Wanda both to San Diego, and they had tried hitchhiking to kind of do that and to get their way there. It was when they returned back to Salt Lake that they were actually found by police and were able to rescue Elizabeth Smart from this crazy traumatic situation. Elizabeth Smart has gone on to have her own family and be a surviving, voice to other victims of people who have suffered kidnapping or traumatic stories. And she started an Elizabeth Smart Foundation in 2011. She's since been married and has her own children now, so her own family to look after. And I think it's really inspiring to see her strength, that she was able to persevere through something so crazy as to be kidnapped for 9 months, almost an entire year of her life gone and traumatized, and so many things lost that could never be refound. That, it's a wonderful thing to see her carry on and be such an amazing impact for so many people. She has since written a book, and I think she's very inspiring to see that kind of strength in someone. If you folks enjoyed this story with me, you can throw up a like sign on the video. I really appreciate the support. If you have any comments to add about this story or another story you're interested in me following, please fill that in the comments section. I love hearing from you guys. And I hope you stay safe out there, and we'll see you again next time. TGIS. Bye for now.